Yes. Okay, I think we're actually live this time.
Yeah, it says we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
This is Maggie and Patrick. We're with A1DesignBuild.
Yep, and today we're going to talk about 12 questions that every homeowner or potential homeowner should ask their builder. Whether you're wanting to build a new structure or you want to remodel the one you have. We have Gunner down here in case you were petting the dog. You can't see him though.
Golden Retriever.
Yeah, the Golden Retriever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, should I just
dive in.
throw a question out there? Or you want to say what you're going to say before?
I was going to preface this so Maggie can put me in my place. So, we spend a lot of time educating our clients about this process, of which we have a pretty good process. And part of the reason we have a pretty good process is to try to manage the complexities. A design and building of stuff, a new house, a remodel, a DIDU, whatever that might be, it's pretty complicated. There's a lot of moving parts. And a lot of our homeowners have not done that before, the clients that we're working with. And so we thought, well, maybe it would be fun and they're also talking to other people. They should be talking to more than just us if they're trying to find a team to help them build a house or do a complex remodel. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And so we just thought it would be helpful to talk about some of the most common questions that we experience and that we've figured out answering, and also the kind of questions that I would want my mom to ask a builder if she was going to have something done in her kitchen and I wasn't there to help her. These would be the kind of questions that anyone would be able to ask a builder or a designer who's building and designing stuff. Just some basic questions to get a sense of their level of competence and experience and gauge their ability to answer these questions, because they're questions that we've come up with because we've gotten stuck with answering some of these questions ourselves and had to kind of rebuild our company around being able to answer these questions effectively.
Yeah.
So just like when we buy a car or a bike or a computer or something we're not familiar with, when we go into the store and we don't have a lot of knowledge, I feel uncomfortable. I'm not very confident. And I can easily feel sort of intimidated by the salespeople or the store. And hopefully you can feel less intimidated when you talk to us or when you talk to another builder. Have a little bit of experience and confidence going in to making a pretty big decision about who you're going to work with.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't what I thought you were going to say at all.
I was going to say that we have to answer these questions because people don't trust us.
Oh, yeah.
People don't trust us because we're builders.
Yeah.
And builders, there's a very real reason why people don't generally trust general contractors. Because there's a history of general contractors in this community, in all communities, of taking advantage of people. It's the same stereotype that's applied to used car salesmen and people that are selling stuff at Radio Shack. But it's also really common with general contractors to overpromise and underperform. And so one of the most difficult things in helping a project progress is our level of trust with you if you're our client. Everyone takes their own period of time to get used to trusting someone because you're spending a huge amount of money. We're in your face all the time, both in design and in construction. It's very invasive and it takes a long time to trust the people that you're working with. And I think if a person can have these questions answered, it might help expedite that process.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it. It's like, so the reason that we're going to give you 12 questions is because there's builders in defense of builders as well. That's where I was going to go.
Maybe. The defender of all.
The projects are very complicated. And sometimes I have heard stories about where it's clear that a builder has gotten in over their head, which is inherent in any business where somebody's trying to get better and advance. Eventually, they reach their level of incompetence. And unfortunately that can be very expensive and inconvenient for you if you happen to hire them when they do that. And so it's not that the mistrust that happens, I think, is because there's such huge amounts of money involved.
Yeah.
It's huge, the amount of money that people invest, whether it's a remodel or a new house. And you're entrusting this to one person or a team of people. And so, okay, let's do the questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some ammunition. Now, this one is the obvious one. Let's just get it over with.
Yeah.
Are they bonded and insured?
Ask your builder, are you bonded and insured? And can you show me that documentation or point me to a website where I can go and find that so I can prove to myself that you are covered. So in the event that something happens at my house, if one of your employees are hurt, if one of my family members is hurt, if the house burns down, what is going to happen? How are you covered to protect me as the homeowner of your project? That should be a very easy thing for any builder to provide for you. And there are some public websites that allow you to find that. Unfortunately, we don't have that with us, but
the
what
link?
is it? Yeah.
We can drop it in the comments afterwards. Yeah, it's the government website where you can look up if someone's if they've got a license, that's a business license as a contractor.
Right, but being bonded and insured is different than having a license. So we have a license and we have a general contractor's license, but we also have $2 million of liability insurance, which protects us and protects you in the event that something tragic happens on your job site, like someone falls off the roof, or your dog gets stuck underneath gets hurt in a bathtub or something, or you get hurt, or one of our sub-trades gets hurt, or we make a big mistake and your roof caves in and now your whole house is damaged. Yeah. Who's going to fix that? Who's going to pay for that? Going to pay for it? We have an insurance policy that covers that. And we also require from our sub-trades that they have the same kind of insurance policy that covers them in the event that they make a mistake.
Yeah, so that's something with a larger builder, you most likely are going to find that they are bonded and insured. But if you're doing a really small project and you hire a handyman, you really run the same risk. Not that they're going to be replacing your roof and it's going to cave in, but you never know. It could be a plumbing leak or something. So you need to have that no matter the level of the builder, whether it's a handyman or whether it's a full-on builder.
It looks like Adriana just put the website where you can verify a contractor's bonding and insurance policy.
Thanks, Adriana.
Thanks, Adriana.
So how long, you want to ask them how long they've been in business, because experience matters.
Yeah. How long have they been in business? If you're hiring someone to do a deck, it might be nice if they built a couple decks before. And you can apply that kind of thinking to all kinds of things. Bathrooms are their own thing. Kitchens are very different than bathrooms. Exterior repairs in this environment are very challenging to do well. We've repaired thousands and thousands of houses in this community that have been done, that have been sided, had windows installed and roofs put on them by really well-meaning but inexperienced builders with a lack of training and a knowledge of this environment. So asking your builder and or designer, how many kitchens have you guys done? And what kind of exterior repairs have you done? And, get a sense of what kind of stuff they've done. They should be able to talk, easily about that. You can also request references. You can also request, photographs, until you're comfortable.
Yeah.
People ask us different questions about different things, and sometimes it takes a while until they feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, even a new... So interesting thing about builders, I think, is that some builders, like us, are a whole team of builders, and people cycle in and out of our company, but our company remains. And in other cases, you'll find that builders are just like a team of one or two people. And they do everything themselves. And at some point, those builders started being builders. But before, so if let's say you find one of those builders and they've only had one job under their belt, or it's their relative that they did a job for, I would treat it as if you were hiring an employee and say, what's your experience before you were a builder? Like, and if they weren't working for a builder before they were a builder, that's kind of a flag, I would say. But if we've had a couple of our project managers who worked with us for a while, and then they decided they wanted to go out on their own, which is drat their hides, but it's okay. We wish them well. In fact, we still are friends with them, and support their business actually by sending them small jobs here.
Yeah, we oftentimes refer our clients to past employees that have moved on.
I guess my point is that you're going to come across all different types of builders, sizes of companies, and that's where there's a little bit of risk involved when you go with a smaller builder, a smaller company. So if you go with somebody who's only a one person, you really have to understand their experience. You really do, because you don't have anyone to go to if it doesn't start to work out. Yeah. So that's a big thing on experience.
Yeah, and I just want to add one other thing about this experience thing. Part of it is the amount of projects they've done, but also part of it is what kind of infrastructure support do they have. So, because, people can, again, overcommit and underperform, and part of that has to do with, is it just themselves in a truck? Or do they have someone that's helping them, who's ordering materials, who's helping with scheduling, who's helping that project progress in a timely manner? Those are all good questions to ask. How long is this going to take? Who is going to help you? Are you doing this by yourself? Anyway, we'll stick to the...
well, I don't know, but I was like, I think...
Sorry,
I'm here looking at those.
All right, we'll go number 3.
Let's go like that. No, okay, we'll go on to number 3. What benefits do you provide your employees? A builder who takes care of employees is more likely to take care of you. That's sort of where we're starting off with that. And I think that is a really good question, and it's on multiple different levels, because the people that work for this builder are going to be in your world. And so if they're well taken care of, you'll be able to tell. If they are not, it'll become obvious. And that's not a good place to be. That's one level. On another level, it's just good to be able to support companies that care about their employees, and they have health insurance and they have vacation time and those kinds of things. It's just important to support businesses who actually care about that kind of thing. The building industry is known for laying people off. It's just inherent to a lot of companies, especially the bigger companies, I think, that do huge jobs and then they'll have a lag or whatever and they lay everybody off. And so some question, talking to people about that, it's important to know what kind of company, how do they take care of them? Because you want somebody on your job that wants to be there and that has experience. And if the builder takes care of the employees, they're able to gain experience. Chris is saying, I noticed you're a co-op. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. We're a worker-owned cooperative, which means that the employees own the company and we run the company. So we have our regular jobs as designers and admin people, managers, etc. But then we also wear another hat, where we're on a board and we help make policy decisions and financial decisions for the company. And I think that I've been talking a lot here, so jump in if you want to. But I think that part about what benefits do you provide your employees, well, one of the benefits that we provide our employees that most other companies can't is they have a say and a voice and a vote and part of the profits. They are very, very invested in their jobs, really invested in their jobs. So, that's an advantage for us, though.
Yeah. Well, so when we started down this path 7 years ago, it was important that we were creating a company that we wanted to work for, and that people would want to work for, and that we would be able to stop seeking people, and people would find us because we did good work and it was a good place to work, and people would they find that out, right? And part of that is because we have really good employee benefits for people that are not members of the co-op. Not everyone who works here is a member of the co-op. There's 25 employees. Maggie and I are both employees, first and foremost, but we're also members of the co-op. And there's 14 members of our co-op with 25 employees, including those 14 people, right? The primary benefits, I'm just going to reiterate what Meg said, the primary benefits if you're a member is you participate in making important policy decisions about the direction that this organization goes, professionally, creatively, and in regards to employee benefits. You also share directly in the proceeds that are earned by the co-op in your work in an equal manner. So at the end of the year, there are dividends that are given out based on the amount of time that we work for this organization. So Maggie and I have that same share, but if Maggie works more than I, she receives more of the net profit at the end of the year. And that's distributed equally amongst the members of the organization.
So interesting thing about that is it's a very, very equal profit sharing, because if you have a manager or a general manager, or, somebody who's at a higher wage level maybe, and you have another position that's at a lower wage level, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's about the hours you work. It's not about what your wage is or what your agreed upon salary is. The profits are shared very equally in our company.
Right. And so when we started this company with the co-op thing, that was one thing, but also not everyone here who works here is a member yet. It takes a little while as an employee before you can get the opportunity to become a member, but it's generally presented to every employee. But while you're not a member and you're an employee, it should still be a pretty great place to work that pays you well for your skills and involvement and rewards you for actively participating in the health of that organization. That's transparent and available to everyone who participates there. Not exclusive of really as good a health benefits as we can possibly offer, which includes dental and vision and health and excellent paid time off. All of those things are part and parcel, in my opinion, I think in our opinion, of having a healthy workplace. And that costs a great deal of money. And any project that you were to look at, the most expensive thing is the people that are doing the work.
That's really
especially true. If they're taken care of. That is why things are so expensive too, is the human beings that are doing that work. Mm-hmm. When we make decisions about what kind of products to put in front of you when you sit in your showroom, we consider the people that made the product far, far away in a land far away from us, right? Somebody is making that countertop. Somebody is making that faucet. Somebody's making that doorknob. The way that they're treated is important to us, in the same way that the people who work with us are important to us. And as a consumer, we have I believe, this is belief now, but I think Maggie agrees with me. We believe that we have a responsibility that when we buy things and when we exchange funds for goods, it's more than just getting the thing that we want. Our money has power, and we should be using that responsibly, I think.
Yeah. So, no, I agree with that.
Man,
I think
that was a good rank for me.
Well, I think that's an important thing, and we didn't actually make that one of the questions. But as a consumer, and if you think about the world the same way, and that you kind of vote with your dollars, or you want to spend money where you feel good about it, you're actually doing the same thing that we're doing, and you should be thinking about that when you hire the builder. It's nice to know. It's not like you're going to ask them, I don't know, what kind of questions could you could ask them about their They're
political
sustainable.
rumors,
No, we're not going there.
Childhood trauma.
No, they're how they feel about sustainable materials. I mean, if you're watching us, it's probably because you care about sustainable materials. So you might ask them about that. You know, if they have any recommendations or feelings about that. Anyway, so that's
all right. So question number 3. What benefits do you provide your employees? I'm about to hire you. The way that you treat your people is important to me because they're going to be in my house and they're going to be relating to my dog and my partner and my child, and they're going to be doing work that's going to be here for decades.
Yeah.
That's important to me.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't to you, but
yeah, no, it is. Should we go to the next one?
Yeah,
Because
please.
we've been doing this for like
Good Lord.
and we're only on 4. How do you hire and vet subcontractors?
That's a good question.
Well, we have a whole sub packet, which I have to say the sub packet can be a way for us to weed out subcontractors who don't have patience or perseverance.
Subcontractors are an extension of our team.
Mm-hmm.
We interview subcontractors like we would interview you if you came to have a job with us as a designer or a builder or an estimator or someone who is working in our facility here. It's the same question. You're going to be going out into these people's house. We need to be assured of your behavior. Well, we also need to be assured of your level of skill. How long have you been doing concrete? How long have you been hanging drywall? How long, all of those sort of things, electrical certification, plumbers. But largely it has to do with having a level of confidence that they're going to represent us. And we can only come to that conclusion by a series of conversations. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we do to test that a little bit is we have kind of an arduous paperwork packet because there's a lot of legal requirements that we have to fulfill to be able to hire a specialty subcontractor for our work. We're liable for their work. So there's a lot of steps we have to follow collectively and that they have to participate in. And if they're not able to participate in that, chances are they might not show up on time or they might not get the job done when they said they were going to get the job done. And so, interviewing, paperwork, giving really direct and clear feedback during projects and after projects if things don't go well. A lot of our subtrades we've been working with for multiple decades, and those relationships are really important to us. We really try to cultivate that. We are never late on our payments. We always help out. We have a lot of subtrades they're like 1 or 2 people. Like it's my partner and I, and we hang gutters. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. And it's just 2 of them. And sometimes they get stuck. And if we can help them, keep going, we'll do that. And so we're careful in the people that we choose. And I think we do a really good job of cultivating a healthy, collaborative environment. So when we get stuck, these people will help us because we've taken care of them. If something is not done to our liking, most likely they're happy to fix it. They're happy to replace a piece of equipment. They're happy to make it so that everyone is happy, especially you and including us.
Yeah.
And so it's a big deal when we have those people come into someone's home because we're on the hook for their behavior and their performance of the work that we've committed to you as a contractual obligation that you're paying us for a service that we're providing.
Yeah, I would say we've had pretty good luck. I mean, and it's because of that arduous sub packet. And, and we keep track of where people park. And so little things that could be very irritating to a homeowner or to a neighbor of the homeowner. People smoking, anything like that.
Did they clean up after themselves?
Personal stuff.
Are they nice to the neighbor's dog?
Yeah, we actually address all that all the time. And it's so that you don't have to. And so that's a question that you would want to talk to your builder about. Is that something that if there's a problem with a subcontractor, are they going to be on site?
Yeah.
Are they going to be there when the subcontractor is there? That's a really, really good question.
Yeah. We generally do not allow subtrades to do work in our clients' homes if one of our staff is not there representing us. Also,
Not that they wouldn't be just fine. It's just that there can be conversations and things can go off off track if we're not there, and we have to keep track of
it. It puts the client in the position of managing the sub-trade.
Yeah,
your agreement is with us.
Yeah.
We are responsible for that. And so we want to make sure that we're attending to that. The other thing that you could ask someone, this is kind of riff on this idea. One of the things we do as a part of the estimating process is we have our specialty trades at your home with a set of information about what it is that they want us to give a price on. And that's a great opportunity for you as a client to meet these people that are not a part of our company before they actually end up in your house at 7:30 on a Wednesday. When you're trying to make a cup of coffee and get to wherever it is you're trying to get, they're like trying to hang the lamp. They're trying to finish the drywall, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's great to either pose a question that allows them to explain their process so you feel comfortable. And in our situations, we kind of extend it a little further by actually having those people come to your house. And it's not just to give you the opportunity to meet the plumber. The plumber has to look at what's going on in the crawl space so he can give us a good price, a reasonable price on what that work is going to require. But it is a great opportunity to meet the people that are going to be in your home. And a builder should be really sensitive to that because it's a very stressful thing. And there's going to be people coming and going all the time. And it can really make it feel crazy. Yeah. If you don't have a good understanding and your builder isn't actively managing the traffic flow in your home.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or your new property,
your new house. Your home.
Yeah. So this one, I love this question. Yeah. And I think this is a question a lot of people wouldn't ask. And it's, how do you handle project data and documentation? And if you think about, even with a remodel, let's say you do a kitchen bathroom remodel, there are
700.
Yeah, 700 questions that are going to be posed to you between the time you start and when you sign a contract or get underway. And then there'll be even more questions when you're underway. But hopefully there's a lot of those questions have been asked beforehand. So 700 questions. How do you document that?
Yeah, builder? Who keeps track of that?
Who's going to keep track of everything that we agree upon verbally?
Why do I have a black faucet instead of a silver faucet? I thought I was getting a silver faucet. Didn't you say a silver faucet? I mean, just ad infinitum. Uh-huh. The opportunity for complex conflict and miscommunication is staggeringly high.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's something like the documentation is super important, but the other part is to remember, and this is really not a question for the builder, but it's a question for you to ask yourself. It's like, how involved do I want to be in this? Because, well, let's just give an example of documentation. In our company, we use an app that we put all of our emails in. All our emails are done through the app. All of our daily logs are done through the app. It's like a portal website for the client. All the photographs are there. All the selections, all those questions that you've been asked, and you said, yes, I want the silver faucet.
Not the black one.
Not the black one. And that silver faucet goes in there with all the details, including the warranty and all that. And all the plans are in there. So it's just this huge bucket where everything goes and nothing gets deleted, so that there's an archive when the job is done of everything that's happened, and you can look things up if there's any confusion. We have systems in place for us to help clients with that, because even if you document 700 questions, it can get confusing. Yeah. Yes, I can prove to you that you actually ordered you wanted the black one, not the silver one. I've got the email. But it's really, documentation isn't helpful when it ends up like that. And so that brings me to the point that I made a moment ago, and that is having the client engaged with the questions and the documents and being able to keep track on their end. So we try and make it as easy as possible for the client to do that through having that website, having systems in place. We have so many checklists for our employees to make sure that they They check all the boxes, make sure they ask you all the right questions, make sure they record everything that needs to be recorded. So that app, we're using Builder Trend at the moment. That is the app that we're using, and we'll probably stick with them. But it's just critical to communication. It really is.
Yeah, from an administrative perspective, some companies use spreadsheets. There's all kinds of different apps that are sort of built for the building industry and for the design industry to document and collect the decisions that are made during design and be able to execute those during construction. And your level of confidence with your builder about how they're going to manage the information that they're trying to extract from you or you're trying to give to them is really, it has a lot to do with the success and the duration of that project. So having a good sense when you choose someone that they're going to be able to manage a great volume of information, that can be very confusing and can get really overwhelming. And when it's not executed well, it's responsible for a lot of conflict between builders and homeowners or clients. Not being able to keep track of the myriad of decisions that have to be made is challenging.
Yeah, and so it's really great if your builder has a system in place so that they're familiar with, because they'll be able to bring you right along on it.
Yeah, they should be able to talk about that.
Yeah, so if they have a system in place, they'll be proud of it.
We are.
Yeah, we're proud of ours.
Our lives are way, way calmer than they used to be 7 or 8 years, 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of supportive infrastructure to help us manage a lot of information.
Yeah.
Pretty effectively. And even with a good system, with really good training, we still make a lot of mistakes. And everyone will. It's impossible not to.
So this question, I think this is the only question we have about money, and we could talk about this because we could expand on this question a little bit. And we probably should.
Yes.
Because it's important for you to talk about money with your builder as soon as you're comfortable. So what is the payment schedule and the funding structure? So you want to understand how it works once you've decided to go with the builder and you're signing the contract. And it's like, all right, how does that all work? And so do you want me to just blather on, or do you want to jump in? I don't want to.
You don't blather.
Okay.
Everything you say is very articulate and well-reasoned, always.
We work with banks, number one. So...
can I interject one thing? There's a couple fundamental things here, right? You're going to enter into a legal agreement with someone who's going to do some stuff for you. That's going to cost the most money you have probably ever spent, except for maybe buying the house that they're going to now change for you, right?
Unless it's your first house, right? So you're building a new house,
right? But it's generally, for most of us, our houses are the most expensive thing we've ever spent money on. So it's kind of a big deal, and you're going to sign an agreement, and we don't take all the money at one time. We take the money over as the project progresses. And that's pretty common. There's different kinds of agreements. That's okay. But what's important is that you understand when you sign that agreement and you're saying, I'm going to pay this amount of money for what I think is this amount of work. Whatever agreement you sign, you should be very confident that what you're getting is clearly spelled out and it's at a reasonable amount of money. You can understand why you could get to this amount of money for these amount of things. In our opinion, it feels like a huge amount of money, and it is. It's a good value, in my opinion, as well. It's a big project, costs a lot of money. But our point here is do what you need to do to be clear in that contract that you understand what it is you're getting, and also understand how you are paying for it. And that's what we're talking about with this question. What methods are out there? When I hire you as my builder, how am I going to pay you this huge amount of money? And part of the reason we're posing that question is because that question creates a fair amount of discomfort. So the worst case scenario is you give a builder a bunch of money and they move to Mexico before they finish your kitchen, right? Because you just funded their trip to Mexico for the next 9 months. Like, right? I mean, that's a real thing. That has happened in our town many, many times. And so no one wants to be that person. And so part of the reason we have progress payments or payment schedules that are part of a contractual obligation is that it's metering out that output of money that is going in alignment with receiving the thing that you're paying for and maintaining a level of security and trust in your builder.
Yeah. So we skipped right with this question. We skipped to the part where what is the payment schedule and funding structure. Now we're design build. And so we have two contracts. We have a design contract that we have people sign, and that's basically so we can figure out what it is you want to build. And it takes time, research, effort, a lot of questions, and a lot of work to get to the point of this is what I want to build. Yep. And so that's like later we have a construction contract. Yeah. So that first one, the design contract, is where we have to start talking to you about your budget, because if we design something that doesn't fit your budget, we're all going to be crying, 6 months down the road when we can't get to the point of building it. So that's where I said in the beginning, as soon as you're comfortable with a builder, with a person, and you trust them, then you want to talk about money.
You want to talk about money.
Yeah. And
sooner the better.
Yeah, most people really won't invest in a full-on estimate for you. So let's say you have a $500,000 remodel. That is going to take 50 to 60 hours of estimating time for a builder. Let's say it's not even somebody who's designed it. If the architect designed it, now you're going to build it. You've got a builder. That 50 to 60 hours, like that's a lot of time. If you get to the end of that and you say, no, I don't want to build with you, they've put in 50 or 60 hours. So a lot of times you're going to run into the question of you've got to pay me to do this whole estimate and figure it out for you. And that's not unreasonable. That's not unreasonable. If you come across that, it is not unreasonable. Yeah. Because that's a lot of work that person is putting out to figure out what it's going to cost to build your building. Yeah. And you could get to the end of that, especially if they're not the ones that have designed it and they haven't been doing a budget calc with you all the way along. All of a sudden you land with plans and you're like, what's it going to cost? And they're like, it's going to take me some time to figure this out. And then they come back and it's a $750 bill, not a $500,000 bill. And eek, it's a difficult task for builders to deliver those numbers to clients.
Yeah, especially if that builder hasn't been involved in the design process, they can really get in a difficult place. But back to this question, what is the payment schedule and funding structure? Mm-hmm. So when you're asking, we're assuming you're now talking to a builder, and one of the things you want to get clear on is, how am I going to pay you? Explain to me how I pay you. Is this a time and materials thing? Am I paying you hourly? Do I have a fixed payment plan? Like, do I pay you a certain amount of money every week? Do I pay you a certain amount of money every month? Are the payments that I make you based on progress that you're making? So I can literally see the cabinets are going in. Now I'm getting a bill for $10,000. That makes sense to me. There's a bunch of cabinets that weren't there before. I'm okay with giving you $10,000 or whatever that number is. Cabinets cost way more than $10,000, by the way. So don't remember anything I just said. Sorry, all the other builders out there. So I think our point is that try to get comfortable with understanding their process. And I like it when people ask us those kind of questions that sort of probe into our process. Like, I feel like it allows us to quicker get on the same page with each other. If they have a level of confidence in our process, the process is going to go smoother. Mm-hmm. And so for some people, they have to ask 100 questions. Other people can ask 4. Some people have done 50 remodels before they come to us. Some people have never even bought a house before. They don't know anything. So everyone has their own process, but understanding how the money is going to be paid is fundamental to your level of confidence in whoever you hire. Mm-hmm. In our situation, we do what are called progress payments. So we take money based on the performance of a schedule item. So if something is completed, we ask for money. All of those payments are documented in the construction proposal, and they're attached to schedule items in a schedule we provide you when we sign a construction agreement. That's our method. Not everyone does it that way. But what's important is that you understand their process and they're willing to explain it to you until you understand it. That is when it is done. When you understand it, when you stop asking questions, that's when they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Not when they're tired of talking to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you understand what it is that they're doing that you have some confusion about. That's when it's done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Should we go to the next question?
Yes.
What warranty do they offer? That's a really great question to ask a builder. So a warranty, all right, let's go back to the kitchen and bath remodel or the new home, and you've got a refrigerator and you've replaced the roof and, you've got a toilet. So you've got these different objects, and each of those objects are going to come with their own warranty. The roof is going to be anywhere from a 20 to a lifetime warranty. And, the refrigerator is going to have a 5 or 10-year warranty. I don't know. Depends on what you buy. So those are all warranties that are individual to themselves. And then there is the warranty of, we have a question coming in, but I'm going to finish this first and we'll answer that question. So what about the carpenter who's on site and he's doing all your door trim? And so here I thought of this example yesterday when I was thinking about these questions. Okay, so the carpenter who did all the door trim and he installed the sliding barn door, but he goofed
Very
up.
popular these days.
He goofed up on it somehow, and the bottom of the door is scratching the new hardwood floor. Mm-hmm. The hardwood floor was put in by the flooring guys, and the hardwood floor has a 25-year warranty on it, but it's for normal wear and tear. Right. And this is like clearly a bad install of the door, and it's scratching the floor.
Yeah.
Who's now responsible for that wood floor?
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So the builder is responsible, and the builder could say, well, it's been 2 years, and I gave you a 1-year warranty. Yeah. So that kind of thing can happen. Or it could be another one is plumbing is a big one. Oh, let's not forget about the question. Okay. It's at the bottom. Do you specify contingency fund?
Oh, but before we go on there, I do want to just say it's very important that you ask that question and that builder can agree contractually to a warranty period for their craftsmanship or workmanship. That's another one. Workmanship warranty. That's different than the warranty that's going to come with your new washer and dryer that we put in your laundry room. It's going to warranty the work that we have done to be functional for a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. For ours, contractually, it's 5 years. Mm-hmm. We've done work we've fixed work we've done way before then. Legally, you're required to do a 1-year warranty from the time of signing an agreement. So if you sign an agreement in June and the builder starts in December, then you have a 6-month warranty. And by the time they're done on a 6-month job, they're walking away. You don't have any kind of warranty at all. Right. Make sure that you understand when that warranty starts, how long it lasts, and what is covered in that warranty. Right. For us, return clients are our best marketing, and they're our best clients because they already trust us. We don't have to go through any of this stuff at the beginning anymore because they know we're going to deliver on what we say we're going to deliver. So their goal for us, people that have already worked for us, that already like us, that are already our friends, we can get stuff done so much faster because we already know each other. And so for us, a warranty
is not for us.
Yeah, right. A warranty is really important in that situation because that allows that client to return to us with a high level of confidence. And so when something goes wrong on a project we do, and there's a billion different things we put in the house, something is going to go wrong. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be a drawer slide. It's going to be a weird hinge, and the door's going to be crooked 6 months from the time they leave. There's going to be some weird thing on the rug. The dishwasher's going to leak. I mean, you just name it. Everything has happened.
A weird pitch happened on the concrete,
Yep.
and it's not what you expected.
There's a million things.
There's all sorts of things that the builder you can bring to the builder and say, hey, this isn't cool. What are we going to do?
And they should be able to answer that question.
So interestingly, the contingency fund it does sort of feed into this a little bit, because in our contract, so a contingent, we might add in a little bit of contingency into our overhead, but the other thing that I think of as a contingency fund is more of an allowance.
Yeah, we would. So Phil asked this question. For us, that would be, we don't use contingency funds in contracts. So if we have done our job as a designer, and we are design build, which is why we're design build, we should be able to be very accurate and very specific with our estimating. So in general, we don't want to just drop a bunch of slop, which is what I consider contingency. Sorry if I've offended anyone.
Yeah, no.
But if I want to be lazy in my estimating, I'm going to have a gigantic contingency fund because I'm too lazy to talk to the other contractor that I need to help me, or I don't want to do a calculation for the amount of sticks and bricks that are going to be in that building. Sorry. I'm sure everyone who does estimating is very hardworking, probably not lazy at all, probably never pads their quote that they're uncomfortable about because they don't know it because they haven't done that thing before. So why would they possibly add 25 or 50 or 200% to that estimate in order so they can feel more comfortable? That is what a contingency fund for is, in my opinion. It's because we haven't done our due diligence to understand the nature of the house that we're working in, and we haven't helped you make all the decisions that are necessary for us as a builder to know exactly what we're doing before we ever show up with a hammer in hand.
Okay.
That's what's required to not have a contingency fund.
Okay, so the exception to that is actually quite fun. And one of the exceptions is excavation. And excavation, we usually have that as an allowance. And the reason that we do is because we can't see what's underground without digging it out. And so let's just tell you, I'm going to tell you a couple of things they found in my jobs. We found an entire landing and staircase underneath another landing and step. And so that wasn't planned for. That took quite a bit to get up. Another time we found a buried oil tank.
Many times, actually.
Yeah, and then we actually, instead of removing the whole oil tank, we had to cut it. We had to cut the corner out of it. It was cheaper to actually excavate that, cut the corner, than to excavate the whole thing. But that was in a contingency or an allowance, I would call that. Another time.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was an extra thick wall on one of my jobs. And we're like, why is that? We don't know why that wall is
Why is that wall 10 inches thick?
We don't totally understand it. And we're trying to figure out, what's in there. We now have a camera where we can go in and look. But at the time, we didn't have that camera. So when we took everything off from that wall that we were going to remodel, there was a garage door inside the wall. They had put siding on the outside and drywall on the inside, and we're living in this space, and there was a garage door there instead of structure and insulation.
Crazy.
So you got handed a note.
I did. We're not there yet, but okay. I'll announce it in 4 minutes at 6 p.m.
So
Chris, our producer, who we're happy to have behind us, who helps us with this stuff, just gave me a note that I'm supposed to relay to all of you. Good.
Do we have to talk about this one? I'm putting that one.
Yeah, she doesn't want to talk about that.
So this is like depressing to talk about, but
let's make sure we get through all the. Okay.
Do you have a process for handling disputes?
Oh, awful. Yes.
Yes.
Make sure you understand before you have the dispute how it's going to be dealt with in a legal manner that gives you proper recourse as a owner, homeowner, client. And because the builder they should have one in place already, because they're going to drop it on you when they give you this agreement. It should be specified.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great question to ask ahead of time, because you're entering into a relationship that is just fraught with peril, frankly.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can go wrong.
It's very complicated.
I can't believe anything ever gets done, to be honest. Or that we get up the next day and do it all over again. But just, try to wrangle an idea of what happens, what path can you follow if you disagree with us about something we've committed to do. How are we going to resolve that together?
Yeah, it's good to have a process in place for handling disputes.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many workers will be on site?
Yeah.
That's a good question to ask. And that one, too few workers can delay the project, while too many can be overwhelming. And then I would also say, if the representative of the general contractor that you're hiring isn't on site and the subcontractors are, I would talk about that. Like, it could be, well, I've worked with this guy for 30 years. I have no question about leaving him alone on the job, and that's probably fine. But that's a question you should talk to your builder
You
about.
might be uncomfortable with that person.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to have that wrangled, because it's also going to happen in the middle of like the most annoying part of a job, when the drywall is started and their house is way too warm and it's super dusty and you probably shouldn't be living there, but they're letting you live there anyway, and they put a bunch of dust curtains up and you can't go to the bathroom without walking through the snow land of drywall dust. Like, this is when those sort of things happen, and it's not the best time to resolve it. So getting a sense of what it's going to be like in your project, and how many resources is that builder going to dedicate to your project getting done in a timely manner. And also, Maggie, the next question has to do with, what is a timely manner?
Oh, yeah.
And what is documented in such a way that you can have a reliable sense of confidence that this person is going to execute in an agreed to amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the next question is, how is the construction site and the schedule managed? Well, those are two different questions.
They are.
So let's just talk about the schedule first.
Yeah.
And in our case, that's another thing that I didn't mention when I was talking about Builder Trend, but we handle all our schedules in there. We first do a design schedule, and it kind of shows the due diligence phase, the concept development phase, the pricing check-in phase, then going back to design development all the way through with selections and permitting and engineering and all that. It's all scheduled. We have a way to keep track of all of that. And then when we go into construction, same thing. We have a construction schedule that we upload into Builder Trend. And so if any of you are Gantt geeks out there, you can actually look at the Gantt chart of all of these.
I just want to tell you that we love you already.
We love Gantt charts.
If you even know what a Gantt chart is, we love you.
Yeah, we love Ganting.
But on that note, sorry, but our producer and director, Chris, has said at 6 o'clock, I'm supposed to say at 6 o'clock that we have to cut this short because we only have an hour. We haven't answered all the questions. If you want to know more, we will be doing another Facebook Live in December to answer the rest of the questions. This is like a bad commercial where the serial is over and you have to stay tuned next week why our heroes find themselves in another sticky situation.
Oh my God, we didn't get to talk about the plastic zip wall with the zipper doors to keep your place clean.
They're good. Look up.
We didn't get to talk about the
it's so good. When our materials are
the simple boxes we have out back,
so
and we always order your material at the beginning of the job.
At the beginning, not after the job is started.
I can't believe we did not get to those.
We can't. Sorry. Thanks, everybody. If you
sorry for the freak out.
Thanks. Hey, Phil. Thanks for asking questions. Thanks for showing up, Phil. We've done some work with Phil in the past, and we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
And thanks to anyone else that fired questions. Sorry, we had some friends that asked some questions. We will look at them. We'll put them on the list for our fun and games in December.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone, and we're gonna go now.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.